Hello, my name is Mitch Tarr. I'm the CEO and founder of Zen Marketing Inc. And we are a marketing agency. We are just aces at email marketing. I'd like to introduce you today to Brian McGrath. He is the CEO currently of KHlubesDiscover. And this is a family business, a multi-generational family business that produces lubricants for the oil and gas consumer industry. And today we talk about some very interesting topics about working with agencies. We talk about the industry, how it's changed since the 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on, and some really good strategies for dealing with communicating your message to the market. So let me introduce you to Brian. Your company goes back a long ways. Tell us a little bit about its history.
Well, yeah, so we're excited about celebrating our centennial 100-year anniversary coming up in a couple of years. 1929 was when the company was founded by a guy named Keller and a guy named Hart, hence the name Keller Hart. And they were in the fuel oil business, and they started back in the Depression, 1929, and they got it so large in the heating oil business, that Shell Oil bought them out back in the late 50s. And my dad was a corporate officer with Shell. And back in the 70s, when the heating oil started going away and more natural gas came in, Shell decided to spin this division off, Keller Hart, which is mostly on the lubricant side. The fuel oil got sold to somebody else. And so it's been in my family since 1976, lubricants, and now we've expanded to chemicals and fluid-related products, and we're distributing nationwide. We're basically founded, mostly in the Midwest, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, but we're, developing a line through our ecommerce program where we sell nationwide. Keller Hart was started in 1929 by entrepreneurs that were very ambitious because they're starting in the time of the Depression, and they got in the home heating oil business. The two of them, a guy named Mr. Keller and a guy named Mr. Hart, combined their resources in the Midwest, in the Chicagoland area, and they started a very successful home heating oil business. Well, they started out with coal, actually, back in those days, and then they eventually went to diesel fuel or heating oil, and they had a very successful heating oil business out in the Chicago area and in the western suburbs, and they serviced a lot of industrial accounts also with fuel oil. And then they got so big that Shell Oil bought the two out back in the late 50s. And my dad was an executive with Shell Oil for many years. And when he was getting up in his years, it coincided with Shell wanting to sell the division, and they offered him the lubricants division of Keller Hart. So we've had it in our family since 1976. I bought out my two brothers in 2005, and I've been the 100% sole owner since then.
Cool. So who then would be your primary customers these days?
Our primary customers for lubricants is trucking companies, construction companies, and any type of manufacturer that has machinery, going from food companies to steel manufacturers, machine shops, anyone who has metalworking, making screws, nuts and bolts and stuff like that, plastic injection molding, a lot of fabricators, any wide variety of customers use our products, our lubricants and our solvents and our storage equipment.
Yeah. Well, the obvious question that comes to mind then, how is the market different selling like in the last 10 years compared to it was in 1980?
So it's gotten harder and harder to see purchasing agents or maintenance managers. People have reduced their workforce where they're lean now, and there's a lot of roles that, where they had 2 or 3 people, now they only have 1. And so to our advantage, um, uh, they need us. They don't have anybody to r- recommend the correct product to use. So we help them with that. And they keep their inventories lower. For a distributor, that's good because they need it right away. And that's our strength. But one of the factors, the big trends in the last 10 years or 20 years, I would say, private equity's been buying out other family-owned distributors, and private equity is not very aggressive on the selling side. They're good at acquiring companies, but they're not good at operations, and we've been able to take advantage of that trend.
So a little bit easier on the competitive side of things. Is it because of the customer relationships that you've been able to maintain?
Well, that and the service levels. We have our own fleet of trucks, our own drivers, our own inventory. Inventory's huge. We have 2 warehouses, one in Milwaukee, one in Chicago. About $8 million of inventory. And if you don't have it in stock, you're in big trouble because the lead times have been extended by a lot of our suppliers. So service has really been our advantage.
Yeah. And so what have you done in the online environment to sort of move the business towards more of that direct servicing level?
Well, if you can imagine the middle-aged man for lubricants, when I go to the conventions, it's all like middle-aged men, almost out of Texas, you can imagine. And so a lot very successful oil companies, family-run oil companies, but very traditional, very kind of conservative, large trucks, large warehouses, large gas stations, but not good at e-commerce. And I took advantage of that because I'm a marketing degree. I'm pretty creative. I jumped right into e-commerce about 15 years ago, and I would call it disruptor in our industry because I was the first. There's only been a couple that have really been able to challenge me, but we have a nice shopping cart where people can buy directly online from us. They just go on our website and there's our catalog right there. And whereas our industry is not there yet. And, I constantly work hard on staying ahead of them by doing blogs, by creating good content, developing our SEO programs, and doing a lot of, paid marketing also.
Yeah. So in that arena, then, what are the primary drivers for you? Is there a need for driving demand for new customers, or is the industry fairly mature that way?
Well, definitely driving for new customers. We get a lot of we have over offline we have about 3,000 customers, and online we have about 15,000 customers, and a lot of it is repeat business, but we're constantly going after new business.
Yeah. So besides SEO, what are the things you do to acquire new customers?
Well, we do a lot of target marketing, doing email campaigns for certain SIC codes in certain geographies, trying to generate leads for our salespeople. Or we do a lot of Google AdWords, and we do a lot of Google advertising.
Yeah. Um, have you noticed any change in how Google has treated your ad account over the last couple of years? Is it becoming more expensive? Is it less competitive, more competitive? What's it feel
Well,
like?
that was that's one of the benefits of getting the early jump, is that we get recognized by the bots a little better than a competition because we've been on and a reputable source, but we constantly have to work on our content, and I would say it has been a little more expensive. There are the bidding is getting higher but we try to really go after those niche products and names to go after terms, and it's worked out pretty well. We continue to see increases each year on our campaigns. So Google has been pretty steady for us. We also sell on eBay and Amazon.
Oh, okay. So all the buzz these days is around how AI is going to wipe out the SEO industry. Have you got thoughts on that?
I work with some agencies on this, and they're in the beginning stage too. Everyone's trying to learn about how it's going to affect our e-commerce program, but I'm hoping that we're able to take advantage of it where it boosts us. But I think it's too early for most people to know how it's going to affect it.
What kind of a marketing department do you have for a company your size?
Well, myself, the owner, and then I have a marketing manager, and I have a marketing assistant, and then the three of us work with agencies that we've selected to work with, mostly on our content, and then on our development of the site and the paid part of the search.
Yeah.
So
So
we have two
multiple.
agencies. We have two agencies we work with, and our
Yeah.
market. Yeah.
So one of the tricks we've discovered over the years is sometimes agencies don't play well together. Do you have them working as a team, or are they kind of silos, just communicating with you directly?
Well, so the one agency is strong in development and functionality of the site, and that's primarily their focus. And they do our paid search also, so that's their strength. The other agency is strictly content and email campaigns. So they do work pretty. They work pretty nicely with together. We haven't had any conflicts, and I try to keep it that way. Keep them separate because. I need the development and shop and for our Shopify cart to be dealing with the any kind of functional issues we have from a
Yeah.
development side.
Um, so you're pretty lean in marketing. Do you have uh, key KPIs that you watch that are, you know, the top 5 things that you're keeping an eye on constantly?
Can you say that question again?
Yeah, in terms of marketing, you're a pretty lean department. Have you got a series of KPIs that you use to keep your eye on things, weekly or
Well,
monthly?
pretty much. We do a calendar for our content, and then we work. It's about 3 to 6 months out on our blogs and our email campaigns, and that's on the content side. So we're trying to coordinate that with the paid side, and pretty much our KPIs is the return on advertising expense, and then our sales revenue that we generate each month.
Yeah, and um, how would you how would you define content in your shop? I know you've got a blog post. What other things do you have on that list of content?
Well, so I'm being the experienced person in our industry, will give topics of industry. For example, some of the heavy duty motor oils are going through a new classification, API classification. So I work with the content people to do research on that topic and then send it out to the trucking industry or industry trends that are going on industrial about, how to keep the oils cleaner or how, proper storage. So I give them ideas for topics, and they research it for me, and they develop the content. Also, on our landing pages, we try to, from our manufacturing companies, when they come out with new information about their products, how they've performed, or any kind of case studies, we put that into content also.
Yeah. So speaking of products, how rapidly do your suppliers produce new products? Is it a constant stream, or again, is that something that's matured in your industry?
Well, so my vision, and it was a lot of, when we talk about our industry, a lot of people aren't really pro extending the product line. They just want to sell lubricants because they don't want extra inventory or extra products to carry. Mine is the opposite. I want to sell, almost anything I can. And what so we were a branded, and this is the industry. It's gone this way too. Most oil distributors were name brand. Like Shell is our main lubricant brand, but most distributors have created a house brand, a private label brand. Ours is called TrueGuard. So we have a trademark on TrueGuard, and so we go to specific manufacturers, not necessarily the major oil companies, but people that blend oils, and they blend our specifications. We create our own product line to compete against the major oil companies. So those lines we've extended quite a bit. So let's say a manufacturer like Shell, like they don't do metalworking, which are cutting oils and stuff like that. So we came out with our own line of cutting oils called TrueGuard, and we've extended the product line that way. And we keep trying to come up with sourcing new products to add to our SKUs. We had, so we're offering about 5. I'm not sure the exact amount of SKUs on our product line. I mean, on our website, I think it's up to around 4,000.
80/20 rule apply to your SKUs as well?
Yes, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty universal. Um,
But I
so
do hear that return on advertising spend's higher than most of the industry. I mean, industry in whole, not just the oil business.
higher meaning better.
Yes.
How do you decide how much money to spend on your Google advertising? Do you do it as a percentage of sales? Do you have a fixed number? How do you
Yeah,
allocate
it's
that?
a percentage of sales, and as our revenue kept growing, our budget kept growing, and we work together on a common budget. Currently, uh, it's about let's see, million to it's about 100. It's about 3% of sales through e-commerce, through our revenue from e-commerce.
Yeah. All right. Um, so when you're looking around, then as an executive or as the owner of the business, where do you get new ideas from or advice from?
Well, there's some really good, like, Modern Distribution, the magazine. Um, uh, I'm a member of the Marketing Professionals, and I try to just absorb. I like watching people like Granger and Fastenal, how they market their campaigns. Zorro is one, and uh, just constantly trying to keep up with the trends in marketing. Which now that you mentioned AI is like mind-boggling. So I have a lot of my marketing manager keeps up with a lot of that, and but and then I work with the agencies to see what they're seeing too on trends.
Yeah. All right. Um, so if you could give three pieces of advice to yourself as you go back a little ways in time, like what would you tell them or tell the old self um, to look out for?
From a business standpoint,
Yeah, business marketing primarily.
well, marketing, yeah, uh, well, what happened with me on my beginning stages was I wasted a lot of money on trying to find a software that has a good nurturing program. I went Marketo. I wasted a bunch of money. I went through a bunch of different agencies. So, I when you're first getting started, selecting the right agency is very challenging, and you've got to make sure they have all the resources because a lot of people would contract the work out, and I said, I don't like that. I like someone that has full paid employees so they can spend enough time on your company and not be spread too thin. So and agencies I think are a lot better than hiring full-time people because full-time people come and go too quick.
Yeah. So your advice would be um, find an agency that is substantial enough to have some staff on board to make sure that they can support you, and then build that relationship um, eh, eh, to be able to have access to skills you may not have internally.
Yeah, and the other thing, and I don't like my competitors to hear this, but the other thing is the owner of the company, which is me, someone like myself, has to be 100% committed to this because if I had partners, my old partners would have no way would they spend the type of money that I'm spending on marketing. But I'm committed to it because I think, and I'm quite sure, and I've seen it, the trends are going in the direction that our business model is going with more online, more online purchasing.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. That direct to customer or self service ability to have that clean. That's the hardest thing to do, to keep it unencumbered.
You're exactly right, and that's more easier said than done.
Yeah, no, that's a tough one. What else would you give as advice on the marketing front?
Yeah, you gotta be creative. And I'm beating up my agency because, they're like, boring, I'm trying to create a personality with our website, and they don't have a lot of creative ideas. So a lot of these agencies are not very, like, let's say, savvy, marketing savvy. They're good technically, like you said, keeping it clean, which is very challenging. They do a great job of helping you with that, but you got to really direct them on which direction you want to go. So whoever is running the show, they've got to be creative. They've got to know you know, I see having the background that I have in the industry, I know where the niches are. And so I try to take advantage of that, but it is difficult because you have to go through the proper channels to I use the example when I go to these agencies, hey, we're having success in this segment. Why aren't we selling more customers in that segment? And they have no answers for me. And so that's been a struggle for me, is trying to take advantage of the knowledge that we have and the success that we've had to extend it. So my advice would be to try to come up with answers to that question.
Yeah. When I'm hiring, because I run an agency, when I'm hiring for my agency, the one thing I ask them is, where did they learn marketing? Where do they learn about marketing? And when I hear, oh, I watch a few YouTube videos, it's just not enough. Like, you've got to name some people and name some books and name a course and, you know, study it as a discipline, because it is a discipline. It's like anything that you can learn. But just watching a few YouTube videos, you don't always know the source. Like, you might be learning from somebody who's totally got it wrong.
Well, so the challenge, and I'm not, if you run an agency, and I've read in some articles about email campaigns that if it's a business, you can still send them some emails without them having opt-in. And I know the agencies are saying don't do that because you get in trouble with Google or spamming, and you can get knocked out. But I get tons of emails that I don't sign up with, and it seems like that's the challenge in the industry and how to reach sectors that you know about them, like account-based marketing. If you know certain like companies you really want to get in front of with your email campaigns, but you don't have them opt in, you still like to send them something to see if you could get a response.
Yeah. There's, we really have to delineate in email marketing. We delineate between two types that are clearly and distinctly different. And the toolkits are different as well. So cold email, where I'm emailing a person I don't know, I've never met, they've never asked to hear from me. That cold emailing strategy is it's tricky. It's hard to do. You can get on the wrong side of Google fairly easily. A lot of people are trying it. It's a hard thing to do well, and the rules change constantly. And on the other side of the house, the what we call permission-based marketing, email marketing, you've joined a list, you've bought a product, you've asked for a report or something. Then you can be a little bit more aggressive in your talking to that person, because you're in the process of building a relationship. So they might buy something from you for the first time, um, but they don't know anything about you, and that's where you have an opportunity to sort of build a relationship. It's and building relationship is funny. I mean, you're not building. You don't. If you've got a BMW, if you're on their list, you're not saying, "Hey, BMW, I had a tough day today. I got some help that I need." You're just like, "Send me interesting car stuff because I'm a car person." Like, that's okay. People will lead that stuff all day long. So relationship is, not the same as what a CSR would have when where they're talking to their customers and having that account manager relationship. That's a whole different ballgame. But
Well, that concept and that's where I wasted a lot of money on Marketo, because that's exactly what I wanted to do, was send relevant information to customers so they could use it. And like you mentioned, the car guy just wants, like myself, I like reading about marketing stuff. I get it all day long, and there's some stuff that I find very interesting, and I like it. I'll eat it up. Uh, but it's hard for me to describe to the agencies about, well, first of all, coming up with the relevant information, and that's where the topics that I share with them is what people want to hear about for those sectors. But then it's like getting it out to them. We have the opt-in guys, but that's just a small amount. I'm like, I want to expand the nurturing process.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. Um, Anything else you would tell somebody trying to juggle agencies about marketing? One last piece of advice for them?
Uh, Well, yeah, I mean, you obviously have to develop a good rapport, because some of these guys can be kind of difficult to deal with. The ones that when I was first starting out, I did not like companies that outsource stuff, or they couldn't do it all. So like the agency I went with they were experts with partners with Shopify, because I liked the Shopify cart and I went with it. So I had to get someone that was good with Shopify, but then I also wanted someone that could do the paid search for me and the development. They were not real good on the email campaigns or the marketing side. That's where I had to go to another source. So I think if you can get with an agency that can, cover most of all the bases, the content, the development, and the paid search, and they have their own people, I would think that would be a good route to go.
Yeah. No, I can see that visually. You've got one relationship to maintain, and they're balancing the resources in the back end. You're looking for outcomes and results and things turning out the way you want them to. They have to worry about the moving parts and the numbers and dashboards and making sure everything works technically.
Yeah, but like you mentioned, keeping things clean. Like we've struggled, and we still don't have it down yet. Our wholesale site, where we, because in our business, you have to give people specific pricing based on the competitive situation. And it's been a struggle coming up with the right shopping cart for our wholesale customers that can get that specific price for those SKUs. Shopify wasn't very good at it, which is very disappointing that they weren't very user friendly for that. We had to do a lot of customization, so that's a big piece of the puzzle, also.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some friends of mine that run agencies that do almost nothing but Shopify customization, and they are extremely busy. So
Well, you would think Shopify being one of the bigger ones, and they're trying to get more into B2B, they would come up with some better solutions and make it more user friendly for the B2B guy.
yeah, it's such a big space. Such a big space. I used to, a long time ago, I used to come at the world from a HubSpot perspective for B2B. We saw that HubSpot all over the place. We saw them emerging, and that there was no Shopify back in those days. And then when Shopify came on the scene, there's a contrast between what HubSpot was capable of doing and Shopify was capable of doing, because they approached the user base differently. And the pricing models were different as well. I mean, HubSpot was clearly favored B2B implementations.
Well, we use HubSpot for our CRM, and we're starting to use it more for our email campaigns. We just don't use it for our shopping cart.
Yeah. Well, and I think HubSpot does a really good job. They segment, they have smart lists, they have, all the formatting that you need. They're a good email provider in that regard.
Yeah, our content agency got us involved in HubSpot. So we're, they're HubSpot partners, our experts. So they're helping us, utilize HubSpot.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I appreciate your time today and your insight.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mitch.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that and found some information in there that is actionable and helps you to grow your business. As you may or may not know, it's in marketing. We've been doing email marketing for companies for 18 years now. And we know a thing or two because we've learned a thing or two. But I want to make you an offer. The first thing we do when we take on a new e-commerce client is to build out their welcome series. It's not flashy, but it is consistently one of the largest revenue generators of all the flows that we install. And most brands don't have a good one. So if you feel like you might not have a good one, I want to give you a head start. Send me your site. Just send me an email to mitch@zinmarketing.com. And I'm about a custom welcome series flow for your brand. The flow, the angles, all the copy that you use, basically enough material to basically make it live. Free money, if you will. Just done for you, no strings attached. I'll send everything back via email. Send an email to mitch@zinmarketing.com. Free welcome flow.